Jessica Brand created the rarity score.
How did this all come about?
What's the incentive not to put the same answer over and over again? And I thought, okay, so why don't we assign a score to it?
Play ball!
Welcome to Ordinary Effort, where a bunch of random fans get some random baseball players and try not to biff the grid. I'm Mike here with my buddy Josh. We are looking at Immaculate Grid 514. And Josh, I feel like this has become a regular thing now. It's kind of regular recently. We've had a lot of fun and interesting people come through as guests on this, and we've got another one for this grid today too.
Yeah, I am really excited for this one, and to your point, we've had some cool ones right before this too. So just a little bit of housekeeping if you've been listening, or if this is your first time listening. There's a couple different ways you can watch the show, listen to the show. If you're a podcast person and you haven't found us there, we're on Apple and Spotify. So definitely check it out. We'd love if you consider subscribing, leave a review. That really helps us a ton to get the podcast out there. We also post clips on Instagram every day. So, and we love seeing people there. They've taught us a bunch of players we didn't know about in the comments. So just appreciate all the people out there who have been supporting the show. With that, and keeping in mind social media, when I was first playing Immaculate Grid, Jessica Brand was a name that just was all over my feed all the time. Just posting grids, talking about the grids, and I was like, wow, people are doing this, and it's a lot of fun. So when we were thinking about having Jessica on, it was just like, we got to do this. Jessica is a past researcher for MLB Network and the NHL Network, and also created the rarity score. So we're going to talk to Jessica about that. But let's, yeah, without further ado, let's, yeah, Jessica, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. This is perfect. I love this. It's a podcast and everything about, Immaculate Grid, a game that really shaped, I think, really what my social media presence is too. And really, I feel at home doing this. It's fantastic as much.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're super excited.
I love this. I love history. I love names and matching teams and feats. What's more to like? And fantastic people too.
I gotta ask, because Josh and I were talking a little bit beforehand, and he mentioned that you're a big fan of. He said you're a big fan of putting dead ball era older school players on the grid. I know we have several expansion teams on this one. We got the Mariners, the Astros, the Blue Jays, but there's some opportunity for some some older players with the Pirates row here, and then the 100 RBIs season and played shortstop one game. But before we get into that, the rarity score, we obviously, anybody who's seen this or listened to this before, we try our best to get the lowest rarity score, and we've had varying degrees of success and failure. We've had a 2, and we've had a 505. But your Twitter profile or your X profile says that you're the rarity score. Tell us about this. How did this all come about?
Okay, so I was thinking about when Mint, the guy who used to run it before Baseball Reference and Sports Reference purchased it, I was trying to think of a way that Immaculate Grid could have replay value, because let's take a sample square. We have Pittsburgh, Seattle today. Let's say if we played that in 3 months and it shows up again. What's the incentive not to put the same answer over and over again? And I thought, okay, so why don't we assign a score to it? And it'd be pretty easy to find who's putting what in. And what I figured is that there's this show in the UK that's called Pointless. And it's basically a reverse Family Feud where you try to give the least popular but correct answer. So you get a special reward if you give pointless or nobody says them answers, essentially. And I'm like, hey, that's a really simple count-up system that you could so easily code and put in to a game like this. And would give people reasons to come back, basically.
That's really cool.
I didn't know about that show. That sounds like a blast, actually. Well, that's cool. Yeah. You know what? Let's, Jessica, with that in mind, is there a box that you're looking at where you just want to start? Where you want to throw down an answer?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, for sure. So all of these look really good. I mean, I know there's some expansion teams, but man, to get the shortstop and 100 RBI and the bottom right is a great place to start. I am between two that I really like here. So number one, and we can discuss it obviously, is Bill Dolan, who's a Sabre darling, not in the Hall of Fame, but everyone says he should get in because he had a bunch of put out chances in the 1890s. We also have one of my favorite names across baseball. I think I'm going to go with him because I think he's a little bit lesser known than Dahlem. Jack Glasscock, one of the best fielding shortstops, I believe, like in the 1880s, 1890s.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that
mean,
blows
I
my
don't.
suggestion out of the water completely.
Yeah, I don't think we've put, like we've done now, coming up on like maybe 30-ish episodes or something like that. I don't think we've put someone from this era in, so I'm
Mm.
excited about it. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
we can
I
go
was
with
gonna
someone
say
else too.
like Edgar Renteria, I think,
Yeah,
is
we
a
were
guy
just
we've
talking
used
about.
because just like had a sneaky, really good offensive year, but like we absolutely have to use your name.
Yeah, the other player, another guy that comes to mind, like somebody who played out of position at shortstop. I remember I was watching the broadcast when David Wright shifted from third to shortstop. I don't know if I forget who was the shortstop, but I don't think it was Reyes, but whoever was playing short at the time got injured, and they slid right over to short. So he would technically fit
Yeah,
here, but
yeah, that would
we
be
don't.
Kazuo Matsui who got hurt. Yeah, in '04. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. There was that whole Kaz Matsui era. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so I want to go with the dead ball era players because we don't
So
get nearly enough of them on there. Which one did you want to go with?
So I like this one, and then there's another box after Ivan Munn that has a really fun story with it. But Jack Glasscock. So not only do you get the fun name, but you get the dead ball era player. I mean, pre-dead
I'm
ball,
good with
pre-modern
it.
era. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, nothing like a player from the 1800s to start off a grid.
Yeah.
Jack Glass,
Yeah.
0.04% hidden
I
gem.
mean,
What a
they
way to
had
start.
his headshot in a tuxedo, it looks like, maybe. Like this is
Yeah.
definitely pre,
And
yeah.
and what a stash. What a mustache.
Oh, the 19th century mustaches was why you studied the era. Like half of the reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so
nice. Sorry.
you said there was another box that you wanted to jump on here. Where do you
yes.
want to go
So
next?
So in the top right, we have Pirates and a 100 plus RBI season. So this guy is the reason for the Pirates name. So he was signed away by the Pirates, I believe, in 1893. But everyone called them thieves and pirates for stealing this guy. That's Lou Bierbauer. A pretty
Whoa.
common Lou, and then B. Yeah. See,
This
below
is
Lou.
Oh,
Bierbauer. Oh wow.
Yes,
so
he's the
this is
origin of the Pirates name.
literally, this is why the Pirates are called the Pirates, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
okay,
I
I
didn't
was
know that. I mean,
oh my
that's
God.
incredible.
I'm sitting
Um,
here with like Bobby Bonilla. That'll be a good one.
yeah.
He was a
No,
former
no,
yeah.
we're putting Lou Bierbauer. Yeah, wow, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see if people know this is why the Pirates got their name, but yeah, let's get Lou on there.
Lou
Um,
Bierbauer, point
yeah,
zero 0.03%. This is
Jessica
just
out
getting
of the
better and
gate,
better.
just yeah, killing it.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
That's
Okay.
beautiful.
All right. So
Nice. Love it. Should we, yeah, Mike, where do you want to go next?
okay, I don't want to like redirect us here, but when I
It's
saw
fine,
this,
yeah.
I said, I don't know. I'm not going to fight for certain boxes, but this, if I have to fight for one, I want this box because there's a player I've been sitting on. I thought I would use him for Mets Mariners. Haven't had a chance to use him yet, at least not on the show. I've used him in other grids, just doing them day to day. But Pirates Mariners, there's a relief pitcher. He pitched for the Mets in the early to mid 90s when they were really, really bad. And I don't know why he stands out to me other than actually he fits the Pirates and Astros box here too, but I want to put him in Pirates Mariners. Blast Miner. Are you familiar with the name Blast Miner? I know
Yeah, look, I think he was kind of. I think he was kind of wild. I believe, like that's what I seem to remember. I think he had like
Oh,
a decently high walk rate.
yeah, probably. Not no disrespect to the man, but yeah, I mean he wasn't one of their premier relievers necessarily. He was
yeah.
definitely like one of the middle relievers. Didn't have a very long career.
When we
Um,
first started playing grid, we would drop our grids in like a group chat with some baseball fans, and I feel like Mike,
I've been
you've been using
itching,
Blast for as long as I can
itching
remember, but
to
we
use
have not
Blast
been able to throw them on an
Miner.
episode.
Oh, I get it.
So
We all have players we pick over and over, and they continue to
yeah,
score low. It makes
Yep.
sense, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Which is a
yeah,
great so do you mind
yeah.
is it cool if we do
Oh yeah,
Blast
of
Miner
course. It's a
here?
team
Let's
effort.
get Blast
Sure.
on there. Yeah.
Okay, Blast Miner
Nice.
0.04%,
Oh,
triple
This,
play, all
yeah,
sub point one. This is
yeah.
shaping up really nicely. Okay, so you were saying, Jessica, about putting the same guy over and over again. And this is funny because like there's been several players that have just become known as, oh, that's my guy.
Yeah.
One of them is
Yeah.
Pete Vukovich. Anytime we get Brewers Cy Young, I need a new
Oh,
answer
yeah.
there. But another one, Pirates Astros box is Mark Melanson,
Yeah.
who I throw on these boxes all the time. um, and I just remembered that there's another former Met who fits here, Mike Maddox,
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
fits for both of these teams.
Big 1974 Dodgers. Yeah, big year with them. Yeah.
So, but I mean,
Yeah.
those are my two guys. Like, I'm not gonna not throw Melanson, but I'm also open to mixing this box up because I've thrown Melanson like 8 times on this show already.
Jessica, before we just, throw Mark on Pirates, Astros, are there some
So
guys you want to call out
yeah,
or?
I could think of a few here. So some really so this is not dead ball for obvious reasons because you have the Astros. I could think of Brian Bixler of the early 2010s, also played for the Nats for a little bit. Clint Barmas fits this as well. Again, a light
Oh,
hitting
yeah.
shortstop from that era. So, but yeah, I mean, either of these work because honestly, people forget the Mark Melanson trade because that brought him to Houston because it was for Lance Berkman alongside Jimmy Paredes. Yeah, so
I remember Jimmy Paredes. Yep,
Oh,
played for the
yeah,
Phillies, the Orioles. I've used him a couple times.
yeah,
Didn't Joe Musgrove also fits here? Didn't he? He was involved in,
yeah.
was it
No,
the Garrett
exactly.
Cole trade? Was it the Cole trade that sent
Uh,
Cole from the Pirates to the Astros?
because I thought Musgrove was a little bit later. I could be wrong. But
mm,
I might have the I
that's
might
one
have
strategy I suggest though. Take a trade of a player that you
yeah.
know, like let's say Garrett
yes.
Cole, for instance, and then get lesser known guys in that deal. Like if you get Brewers Guardians or Cleveland, right? So you could always say, oh, CC Sabathia, obviously, but what about Matt Laporta being in that deal? People forget he played
Mm.
for both. So it lesser end trade deals. So connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had that. We've tried to use that strategy a couple times before, and it's very effective. It's fun to like
Yeah.
remember. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this random outfielder, the fourth outfielder that was included in that trade. So we
Yeah.
we have we have some good names here. We have Maddox, Mike Maddox. We
Yeah.
have Bixler. Uh, I mean, I'll defer to either of you, really.
I
I'm
kind
okay with mixing it up and not putting Melanson.
of, well, just like Mark knows we're big fans of
He
him.
knows.
I
Mark,
assume at this
come.
point, Mark
Yep.
Melanson has watched every episode. I mean,
Open invitation.
but I kind of, Clint Barmas, I feel like is a fun name to throw on there. I feel like,
Ooh.
or Bixler, to be honest, like,
Yeah, and then you
I
could put
think
the other
both
one
are
in
going to
shortstop.
score pretty well. What do you think,
Maddox is good
Jessica?
too. I like
Yeah,
Maddox too on top of that because at least for me, I think of him mostly as a Dodger, really. So
Mm. I mean,
yeah,
I remember him as a Met, but that was not because it was a memorable tenure with the Mets during that. Again, that '90s Mets team was something else. I I like Barmes, but I also know Barmes.
yeah.
Completely forgot about Bixler. If I were choosing between Barmes and Bixler, I'd go Bixler. But Jessica,
yeah.
why don't you make the call as
Yeah,
the
Oh
go
man,
guest?
for it.
that's tough. So let's try. So let's see here. So let's try. Yeah, let's do sometime. Yeah, because Bixler was there in 2012. Let's try. I feel like man, I'm doubting myself if Bixler played for both. Yeah, because he played for Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington. Yeah. So maybe Barmas there, and then we could consider that for the others for the shortstop boxes. They're both shortstops primarily.
Oh,
Oh,
good
okay.
So we
point.
could do top middle and and bottom middle that way. Yeah.
Did Barmes play shortstop? I know Barmes was a middle
Yeah,
infielder.
Barmas played short and second. Yeah.
Okay, so which
That's
one
how
are
he
you
came
going?
up with Colorado. Yeah.
Okay, so who do you want to put in the top, and then we can
Let's
maybe
let's do Barmas because I'm more sure he played for both there.
Okay,
think Barmes 0.3%.
nice,
Nice.
beautiful.
All right, now jumping down
Um,
to Astros
yeah,
shortstop. You want to use Bixler here, Brian Bixler?
Yeah, unless we want to hear with someone else. Like I don't want to
Hmm.
step over anyone. So
no, no, no. These are great. I mean, I think the like surprisingly on the nose. I've seen a lot of people use Dickie Thon on the grid,
oh yeah.
and he
Yeah.
does work here. It may be too on the nose for Astros shortstop. There's also like Miguel Tejada had that stint with the Astros as well.
Yeah. That OK Hose deal. Yeah.
Oh, I
But he
mean,
was a
I
pitcher, so
don't
that wouldn't
think.
be correct.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think necessarily either of them score better than like if you're saying Bixler played middle infield,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I
Jose
think we go
Vizcaíno works here
Bixler.
too,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely. That's a good pull. Yeah, mid off.
Yeah. So
but
does Marwin Gonzalez, just because he played everywhere for the Astros, but I feel like people remember him at short.
Yeah, he's a big part of that 2017 team. Yeah.
he was like
Yeah.
the fantasy, like if you needed a utility guy in fantasy, he was the guy to
Oh yeah,
pick up. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, Vizcaíno, we've used
we've used
Vizcaíno
Vizcaíno.
before.
Do you want? I kind of want to throw Bixler on here
Yeah,
if we're sure that Bixler fits.
Yeah, yeah, I
That
think
work?
I'm
so.
good with it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 year
I like
career.
that. It's all good. Yep.
All right, Brian Bixler,
Nice.
0.04%. This is
That's
unreal.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
1 in
We might as well
2,500 names.
knock out. Yeah, yeah. We might as well knock out this shortstop and the Mariners, maybe.
Okay.
Alex Rodriguez. Done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect. Yeah,
86%.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
Felix Fermin, almost traded for
Ooh.
Mariano Rivera at one point. Yeah.
oh,
Wow.
didn't
Okay.
know that.
With
Wow. What's the
Trying to think.
story there? Was there like a trade in the works kind of thing, or?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, so they turned it down at the very end, but it was because Mariano was a starter at that point, and they wanted to get
Oh,
a shortstop because Fernandez, the Yankees wanted to get a shortstop because Fernandez kept getting hurt, and that would have blocked Jeter too, which is really a
yeah.
doubly interesting non-trade. So
Oh,
Wow. Yeah, that franchise looks very different with that
yeah,
trade.
yeah.
yeah,
Baseball looks a little bit different. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
Um, okay, that's a definite contender. I love the story too. I mean, that's
Felix
like
Fermin. Yeah,
half
that's a
of why
good
we
one.
do this.
oh yeah,
That's a real
absolutely.
good one.
Like I love this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's like the really obvious, like JP Crawford. Like I feel like sometimes calling out those guys just like,
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
gonna skip Cord
with,
if you go to some easy ones.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Jack Wilson, you go to some easy ones there.
Former Pirate, right? Jack Wilson?
Yep.
Am I thinking
Yeah,
the right?
Jack Wilson
Yeah.
had 222 hits in 2004 and was, I think, third in the NL in batting average that year. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot he played for Seattle. There's some good
Jackson
ones.
Nursic, all defense. Yeah.
I like
Oh,
Fermin. I
I
mean,
was
I
just gonna,
think
yeah.
I also think that's a great story. So let's
Felix
give him a shout.
Felix Fermin.
Yep.
2%.
Nice.
What?
Slacking.
What
Wow.
is this?
Felix,
Wow.
come on. Like,
All right.
yeah, all right. Okay, we can't be upset about 2%. That's pretty
We
solid.
can't get a sub 1 grid?
I
Come
know,
on.
I know,
All right. I
I
guess we'll have to
know.
settle for a 3. No.
Um,
All right. So middle row, Blue Jays. Jessica, any particular box standing out here that you want to start with?
The ones on the edges. So Toronto and Seattle and Toronto 100 RBI. They both have good stories, but the 100 RBI one has a good grid story actually, which is interesting in a roundabout way.
yeah, let's hear it.
So Brad Fulmer is my choice here, I believe in 99 or 2000. He had that wacky stance too. Like he was like way over his head. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
But he was the last box I filled out, I believe for the same two pairing when I got my first ever what I call ghost rarity score or zero, because it doesn't exist.
Oh,
Okay. Did I remember Fulmer with wasn't Fulmer on the Expos at one point
Yeah,
also?
yeah,
Okay.
briefly, yeah, because he was part of David Cohn's perfect game. Yeah, correct. And
Okay.
he was
okay.
with the Rangers at the end. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so Fulmer had 100 RBI season with the Blue.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
sure of it.
remember that.
99 or
Wow.
2000. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, you know who I was
It
gonna
might
say
have
here,
been
Mike, and we
exactly
got, I
a
think,
100 too. Yeah.
yeah, I think we got to use Fulmer, but surprisingly, so we had Joe Orico is a fantasy writer for Fantasy Pros. He was our first guest to come on. And he mentioned Jose Canseco was on the Blue Jays and described it as this just like not a great time for Blue Jays
Yeah.
fans. But surprisingly, after he was on the show, I looked it up. Like he put together like a solid offensive year for the Blue Jays. He does work here. I think we throw
Canseco had 100 RBI season with the Blue
actually
Jays?
40 home runs with the Blue Jays too. Unless I'm
What?
remembering it wrong. We'll
Are you thinking of
verify at
Frank
some point.
Thomas? Are you
No,
sure
I
you're not
think it
thinking?
was Canseco. I almost wonder if Joe thought it was like a bad time defensively because we no shade to
Maybe.
Jose. Like he had his fair share of blunders defensively. That
I,
being said, I'm all for your shout, Jessica.
Yep.
I think we gotta
Oh,
go that
Frank
way.
Thomas
Yeah.
has a special place in my heart though with the Jays. I mean, I think we should go Fulmer, but real quick on this. So Frank Thomas is one of the few times a guy, along with a guy named Terrell Sledge of the Padres, when I realized I knew baseball decently. So I was in high school when Thomas signed his deal with the Jays, and people asked me to recite the deal. It's 2 years for 19.8 million, with the third year that vests if he has 500 plate appearances in the second year. And I still remember it like 20 years
Oh
later
my
because
God.
people were asking me
Wow.
lineups and stuff, and I still
Yeah.
recall that because people would ask me to do that offhand. It was a weird human trick. So
I forgot Frank Thomas played for the Jays until Joe mentioned it.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
because he was on a $500,000 deal with the A's in '06. So it
oh
was something.
That's
wow.
right. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
I mean, we've thrown Canseco and Frank
yeah.
Thomas on. I think we've used
Fulmer's
Thomas a
the
couple
player, I
times.
think. Yeah.
Fulmer's fun. Yeah,
These are great
Uh,
wacky
stories,
stance.
though. All right, Brad Fulmer,
nice.
0.3%, and
Yeah.
Nice.
we're back under the ones here.
What is
Okay.
that hat? What I mean, what hat has he got
Is
That's
there?
that a
the
minor?
no, that's a Jays hat through like '02.
Oh,
Back when they
the Jays have
kicking the ball with the bat.
the
Yeah.
Jays have had a lot of interesting uniform changes over the years, and
Yeah.
almost all of them are really good. I like them anyway. I like the City Connect jerseys that they have too. Like, I don't know. I just like their uniform history throughout the years.
I got to call out a guy here in the middle
Okay.
because Mike mentioned his guy, Mark Melanson. And I think, and I want to use this as a segue to Jessica because I'm curious to hear like the guys you always want to use on the grid, or even like I've
Mm.
got another grid question for you. But for me, Eric Kratz is the guy I try to get on the grid whenever I can. I was like decently happy when the Yankees signed him a while back. Just like felt like at the time he was like a cool veteran presence on the team. He's been in a couple broadcasts since, and I enjoy hearing him on Foul Territory too. And I think just from purely rarity score, people just forget about backup catchers. He did play for the Astros and the Jays, so he is an option here. There may be better ones, but I'll shout out Kratzy anytime I can.
Kratzy's good.
Yeah.
So he's like the first Yankee to have like to finish like his first two games with the Yankees and have a hit in at least like have a perfect batting average in his first two games with the Yankees or something like that.
I kind of remember that. Yeah, I kind of remember
Because
something
I
like
remember I
that.
tweeted
Yeah,
that to Max Goodman, who really liked the staff, beat writer for the Yankees.
that's awesome. So
But I
The
Kratz
like
is
I
an
like
the
him a
legend
lot.
of
option.
Kratz continues.
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean
of him a lot
that's
as a
a
Philly and a Yankee. Yeah, so I like him with these teams. Definitely lesser known. I'm all on board with that.
you know what?
Gotta
Yeah.
get Kratz
Then
on the
let's get
box.
Kratz on there. Yeah.
Eric Kratz,
Yeah. Nice.
0.1%.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, in the
beautiful.
Phillies. Speaking of that, like Jessica, we've asked some guests this before, so like it's sort of a two-parter. Like, if you could craft like your ideal grid, what are the category teams? What does that look like? And then curious kind of also like who are the players who just like you're itching to get on the grid every time you try?
So I try to get. I would think it'd be a mix of stats and teams actually. So this is why this is actually a really nice grid. But I like
Nice.
to get like 200 hits because guys had more hits back in the day, although shorter
Oh,
schedules. I like classic teams. So if you give me like a Cubs, a Dodgers, well Dodgers, a Giants, all those types of teams, I can really go and really make it a black and white grid basically. So if you give me
Mm.
that, that's a lot of fun.
hmm.
Um, I I think if you give me that, that's good. Stolen bases is always an interesting one.
Hmm.
Um, MVPs are interesting because people sleep on the fact that Baseball Reference counts things like Chalmers Awards and League Awards in 1929,
Oh,
for instance.
Wait,
So
what?
I did not know that. So I've been
What?
sleeping on it. Yeah.
yeah, I have a cool picture of Jake Dalbert's 1913 pause, not Chalmers. Yeah, Chalmers Award from 1913 that the Dodgers have hanging up in their stadium. I got a photo of it this year, which is really cool.
Whoa.
Well,
Okay.
that just changed
Yeah.
everything. Not that
That's
we struggle enough with modern
yeah.
MVP, so we're not going back to like
I
1913 and
was
just
gonna
pulling
say,
names,
yeah.
but
It's not
that
like
is
I've
good
got
to
a
know.
list now that I can now access,
Oh yeah, here it
but I
is.
know where to
Finally.
research a little bit. So
Yeah,
Wow.
um
We got
Jake
a lot of work to
Dalbert's
do.
got a lot of stories. So he was known for playing, well, like bunts and small ball, but his style of play because it was within the base paths, was called inside baseball. And yeah, you know how you're saying like, oh, you don't want to get too inside baseball on the topic. Well, that's where it comes from.
Oh, yeah, awesome. I did not know that. That's awesome.
I'm gonna go back and re-listen to these anecdotes over and over again because these are incredible stories.
Yeah, this is like a
Wow.
gold mine of baseball stats right now. That's a good also good call out too. Like I mentioned that I found Jessica originally on Twitter. Like if you're just like sitting around watching baseball one night, Jessica is live tweeting
Mm.
the rare occurrences that are happening in games. So if you don't follow, it's Jessica D Brand, is that right?
Yeah,
On
that's right.
Twitter X, a tremendous follow. So just like a shout out there. Um, we should close this out, I guess.
Do we? Yeah.
Yeah,
Blue
so yeah, if you have any
Jays,
last
Blue Jays,
questions.
Mariners.
Blue Jays Mariners. So I remember this one weird story about it. He wasn't very good, came out as a knuckler with the Jays. Had one start against the Red Sox, I believe, in '08. And he was referred to as that good Mariners pitcher, which he obviously wasn't. Ryan Fearabend.
Oh, wow.
Wow, fear of bends.
For
What
half
year
a
is
second.
this? What year is this?
This was late aughts, but came back, I think, with the Jays in 11, I think. It might be around that time because
Okay.
I think he went to Japan after that year with
Cool.
Seattle. So
So for a second, I was like, is this going to be Brandon Morrow? Because I think Brandon Morrow fits
Ah,
here.
yeah,
And
he
then
does. Yeah.
and then I realized that R.A. Dick, when you said knuckleball, R.A. Dickey fits here too, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
he
this
does.
is way better. Again, like
No, it's a
what is it?
great one.
Ryan F. Yeah, I could give you it. Oh, there we go at the bottom
Oh
again.
yeah,
So you got it. Yeah.
Fire. There we go.
Yeah.
Fearabend. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
do it.
yeah, let's get that on
Oh,
there.
I was later than I thought.
Okay,
0.02% final grid score of 3.
And two of that's on for me.
Ah,
yeah, right. Felix Fermin, like hogging the score, but
oh, what might
wow,
have been.
yeah.
Felix, come on. Come
This is
on.
a beautiful grid. I mean, what's the so Jack Glasscock is the oldest guy on the grid, or Lou? But we've got
It's
Oh, yeah.
close.
Yeah. He debuted in 1879. Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, all the way up to like
Y-
Batsy's got to be
Hey,
the
you know what's
you
even
know
more impressive, I think, is that there are no current players on this grid.
true, true, good
Yeah.
Well,
point.
no, I'm sorry. It's not more impressive because the 1800 polls are probably top,
Yeah,
like the best of the
no,
best. So we have
it's
a
a
lot of
good
work
grid,
to go.
no matter where you slice it. Yeah,
Wow.
wow, this is great. And Jessica just like chock full of stories, which I love. Like when we started this project, like we knew we were not gonna like compete with people on Twitter who are posting super rare things. We just really wanted to like share some baseball memories and you're doing it both. You're doing the rarity and the awesome stories. So like this was a ton of fun.
Yeah, this
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, like Mike, we got some work to do. But Jessica, thank you so much for being on the show. This is a ton of fun. We'll have to have you back again, see if we can beat a 3. And again, Jessica D Brand on Twitter is the place to follow Jessica's work. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. So yeah, just a quick recap again. We have 8 hidden gems on here. Rarefied air grid under 15, which again for some people is not a big deal, but for us that is like as good as it gets. Um, Ordinary effort on Instagram and TikTok. On Twitter is ordinary effort underscore because we're late to the party. And check out the podcast if you're watching this, and if you're listening, check us out on YouTube.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching.